Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
You don't age out of autism. Why would you age out of the treatment? It was really ridiculous to me. The thought of it was crazy. And so I searched around and could not find anywhere that would serve a child 7 years old or older. So I said, well, gosh darn it, I'm just going to do it myself. So I opened my own clinic, my own ABA clinic, named it Success on the Spectrum. And unexpectedly, it did so very well.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Tired of procrastination, perfectionism, and self-sabotage? The Yes Code by Carol Look is your guide to transforming sabotage into success. Learn powerful tools to release your fears and finally live the life of your dreams. Get your copy today and say yes to transformation at carollook.com.
Hi, Nichole. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Marta. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I love your show. And I have to say, you do so much empowering women and giving us the information that we need. And I think you're incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you're incredible yourself, and we're about to find out why. So why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Nichole Daher, and I am the founder of Success on the Spectrum, which was the very first autism treatment franchise in the United States. And now that we're a franchise, I help aspiring business owners open their own successful business using my purpose to profit franchise method. And it takes all of the guesswork, all the legal red tape out of it, all the fear of failure out of it. And it helps people have financially stable and successful businesses.
That's amazing. Well, there's a lot to unpack there, because first I want to know, how did you get into this? Where did this idea come from to start the business to begin with?
Well, like you, I became a mother, and my stepdaughter, of course, I didn't have her myself. She was my stepdaughter. She was diagnosed with autism. And, Mama Bear is going to do what she's going to do. She's going to start looking for treatment. And of course, the golden standard treatment for autism is ABA therapy. Mm-hmm. And I looked for it and found a great place. She did well. But when she turned 6, they aged her out of the program. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you don't age out of autism. Why would you age out of the treatment? It was really ridiculous to me. The thought of it was crazy. And so I searched around and could not find anywhere that would serve a child 7 years old or older. So I said, well, gosh darn it, I'm just going to do it myself. So I opened my own clinic, my own ABA clinic, named it Success on the Spectrum. And unexpectedly, it did so very well. So many people were responding. My clinic was full within 6 months. I opened a second clinic, twice as big as the first. That one got full within 8 months. And I realized how high of a demand this industry is. There are so many kids being diagnosed. So many kids need therapy, and only a few places actually offer the service. So the franchise seemed to be the answer to open more clinics and give kids more access to care.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That's an amazing journey. And starting with your own personal experience, that's typically how it goes, right? We see the need, and in that case, the need was in your own family, and then you did something about it. What were you involved with before? Had you been an entrepreneur? What was that like to just, create this?
Girl, it was so scary starting your own business, especially because we were the first franchise in existence. There was no one for me to even model after, no one to get tips from or to even copy off of. We had to make everything up as we go. Yeah. I had no experience in ABA prior to this. Mm-hmm. So it was a wild ride, figuring things out, made some expensive mistakes, learning how to deal with processing insurance claims.
Oh my gosh.
Hiring employees, which I had never done before. Where do you get them? What kind of licenses do you need? I had to figure all of that out on my own. If there would have been a franchise for me to join, I 100% would have done it because there's so much value in having that information just handed to you.
Mm-hmm. Which is now what you're providing for people. So tell us more about the business model and why is this something that you're, thinking people out there should consider, especially if they're passionate about this cause.
Absolutely. So if you are an aspiring entrepreneur looking for a business that will not just bring profit or money, if you want something that needs meaning and has purpose, this is the opportunity for you. The kids come to us all day instead of school or instead of daycare. And so mamas drop them off in the morning and pick them up in the afternoon. And instead of teachers, we have behavior technicians, which we hire and train in-house. And we teach these kids to say their first words and how to use the potty by themselves and how to write their names, how to dress themselves, how to brush their own teeth, how to cook their own food. And we're essentially giving them all of the skills that they will need to go into the world and go to school and get married and have jobs and live on their own one day.
Yeah.
I have had so many clients that the moms come in panicking because the doctors say this child will never speak. And they're going to be like in, a nursing home drooling in a chair their entire lives. And they just need a specialized teacher working with them, and then they can do anything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so special. And talk about getting engaged in something that is rewarding on so many levels, especially when you're working with kids, right? It's something else. Tell us more about the structure of the company for somebody that would want to start a franchise and begin a center like that, in terms of the work hours, work-life balance, because I know that's something that's important for you as well. And how have you balanced that yourself, building something monumental?
I appreciate the compliments, but we work banker's hours. So this type of business is perfect for a mama, for a working mama, because the clinics are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, no weekends, no holidays. You work while your kids are in school. As a CEO, you're expected to be an owner, operator. This is not a passive income type of business. We actually want you involved and filling an active role within your own business. And of course, you're going to work about 30 hours a week. Some of that can do virtually from home. Some of it can be done within the office, but you're not tied down to a desk. So you can still fulfill your job as a CEO and attend every ballet recital and every soccer game and every teacher meeting with your own kids, but still have the financial stability of running your own business, the flexibility of running your own business. And of course, knowing that you're making a difference in the world is also a really good reward just in of itself.
That's wonderful. I love that you have that in mind and that this could be something viable for mom entrepreneurs, because there's a lot of us out there, and that's the reason why we turn to entrepreneurship too, is to be able to have the time for our families, right? Instead of being tied to a schedule, a 9 to 5. So, and then having the structure of somebody that's been there and done it, instead of having to figure it all out on your own, which that's part of the challenge of being an entrepreneur, right? Is all of the mistakes, and then having somebody to help you that's already done it and has the model is so helpful. Now, you said you train the staff in-house. How do you select these people? Because I know part of the concern as any parent is, who is going to be with my kids all day? And when you're, enrolling them in school, there is the expectation the teachers have been trained and they know what they're doing. So what does that look like in terms of the staff?
Your skills as a mother and being able to sniff out good eggs versus bad eggs is all the skill that you need to hire good staff. I can train skill. I can teach you how to work with a kid with autism. I can teach you how to respond to behaviors. What I can't teach you is how to play with a kid and how to interact with a kid. So when we do our interviews, they're always in-person interviews. And we sit them in the playroom with the child and we say, hey, we'll be right back. And we watch do you talk to the kids? Do you ask the child questions? Oh my goodness, who's your favorite TV show? Or do you love Bluey? I love Bluey too. What's your favorite color? Those are the kids that you want, and the young adults that you want to hire to work with your clients.
Okay.
If you as a mama don't want this person babysitting your child, they're not the one. So you just use your intuition.
Yeah, as simple as that. Now, in terms of owning the franchise, what kind of experience is this person expected to have to be able to start the process with you guys?
It's a great question. So of all the CEOs that we have right now, 25% of them are just autism mamas like me. No special experience with, business per se. The rest of our franchisees usually came from the corporate world, and they were just tired of making their bosses rich and they wanted to do it for themselves. So there's no real special experience that you need. Hardly anyone that comes into this has had experience in the medical field or with ABA themselves. That's what the franchise is here to teach you. But it is a people business. So the skills you need to bring to the table as a CEO, you're going to have to manage your staff. You're going to have that instinct, that sniffer to know who's a bad egg, who's a not bad, who to hire, who not to hire. And those skills, again, can't be taught, but you have to naturally be good with people. Everything else I can teach you how to do.
This sounds amazing. I love that so much. And especially that it's moms that already have that passion, just like you did, right? With having a child that's been diagnosed on the spectrum and then making a business out of it. And again, not having to figure it all out on their own because you've done that work already. Now, you do have a couple amazing offers for our listeners today. Can you share more? Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
It is so hard to start a business that you know nothing about. It's very scary, I would think. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can open an autism therapy center, you can visit our website, sosfranchising.com. There's tons of videos on there that you can watch and actually visually see what life as a CEO at an SOS location would look like. So we are offering for our audience today a free one-on-one video call with me and our sales team to answer all of your questions. And if the fit feels right for you, we will offer to buy a plane ticket to Houston so you can come and have a private tour of our headquarters. You'll get to see an operating, running clinic, spend a day with me. We call it Discovery Day, where you actually get to see what we do in the clinic, what the clinic looks like, and what life would be like for you if you owned your own.
That is amazing. That is such an amazing offer, and I am so excited for the people listening to take you up on it, to have the call and see if it's a fit, and then go visit in person and check it out.
Absolutely.
Well, I love hearing more stories because it really helps illustrate the impact that you're creating, and especially for somebody listening that is excited about what we're talking about and this idea of starting a business like this. You shared a little bit about, the difference that having a center like this makes for somebody that's been diagnosed with autism. And for the kids' developments, like what you're saying, sometimes doctors say there's no hope, and all they needed is that special attention, individualized attention. Can you share some stories that come to mind that have been really transformational, just so we can, connect with this even more?
Oh, absolutely. So I had one young man. He was a 12-year-old boy. Doctor said he would never be able to speak. His mom had put him into school for a little while. He was in the special needs classroom, and he was just kind of left out of the group lessons, I think, because he would flap and rock back and forth and wouldn't make eye contact. And so people on the outside didn't think that he was understanding anything because he didn't respond in a way that let you know he was taking this information in. So mom put him in our clinic. We got him 40 hours a week. And there was I can't even remember exactly what happened, but I said something like, oh, just go put this in the trash real quick. And he just, okay. And he grabbed it and he brought it to the trash. And I'm like, this kid understands everything we're saying. He is fooling everyone and just being lazy. So we discovered that even though he had never spoken a word, he could understand language absolutely perfectly. We taught him how to type. And when I say this kid did not learn how to type a word, he went full blown paragraph right away. All of this language, all of this communication was stuck inside of his body. It felt like he could never speak. He would never look at you. He would always just act like he was,
Mm-hmm.
in his own world. But when you give him a tablet, he
Mm.
will write, he'll write a book for you.
Wow.
And so we were like, this kid has just been, he needed a tool. He needed a tool
Wow.
for communication. And so this child is now in high school.
Oh my gosh.
Follow his mom on Facebook and I keep up with them, even though he's left the clinic. And he's absolutely successful in school. He does plan on going to college. They're trying to teach him how to drive. Y'all get off the roads, he's going to have a life of his own.
Yeah.
Whereas if that hadn't been discovered, what would have been left for
Yeah.
him? And it's one of my favorite success stories because he was 12. He had gone 12 years with no one noticing that he was just trapped inside of his body.
Wow.
And it makes you feel so good. If the business made no money at all, I would still really enjoy doing this. But the fact that you do get paid well for it, parents don't have to pay for this. It's not like daycare or a school where you have tuition. Health insurance pays for it.
Mm.
And health insurance pays $10,000 a month for each kid. And so it's not only rewarding experience wise, but it is quite profitable too.
Wow, that is incredible. Now I'm curious about you and your growth, not only in terms of entrepreneurship, and the skills that you've learned throughout, and not only in terms of business, but also in terms of this treatment and how to support these kids. But how has that been in terms of personal development for you and, believing in yourself, starting something so new?
I think there was a lot of imposter syndrome happening when I first opened the franchising company because I never had business experience. How did I run my own business and open a national franchise? But like you, Marta, I'm a natural teacher. And I think that is where my skill lies. And that's the box that I had to put myself in. I think as a leader, I had to learn how to let go of control for the things that I didn't know and trust the people that did.
Mhm.
And I'm very lucky to have an amazing team. I have a clinical team that helps the behavior analyst and help program curriculum for the kids and help come up with different ways to help them while I can stick with the administrative side, which is what I'm good at. And CEOs, even the franchisees that come in, they're just doing administrative work. They're not working with the kids directly. And so I work with them to teach them to do payroll, and I teach them how to do hiring and firing and be the HR for your own company, performance reviews. So I think I've grown a lot in letting go of wanting to do everything myself and control everything and allow the right people to make decisions for the company.
So it sounds like trust in yourself and also trust in people around you, which I think is a reflection of trust in yourself as
It
well.
really is. Trusting a team has to start with your ability to trust who you picked to be that team.
Yes.
Right? So it's very accurate.
Yeah, with your own discernment, right? And back to what you were saying, trust your intuition, and your gut feeling when you're hiring people, right? The things that at times you can't even teach, but it's already within you and you just got to lean into it. I think that's the hardest part, honestly, of life is leaning into who you are. And in many ways, that's what you're facilitating for these kids, right? Is allowing them to be who they are and showcase that in a world that is not built to support them.
Well said.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Well, before I have you share with us how to connect with you, I know you already shared the website, but I'd love to know how people can connect with you in case they want to chat or see more about the work. I like asking all of my guests my $1 million question. Are you ready? Nichole, what is an empowered woman then?
An empowered woman is someone who believes in herself and acts with what she believes is right, no matter who tries to stop her or discourage her. As a woman, I was very undermined by a lot of men. People didn't believe that I was going to be able to start the business, or anytime I would say, oh, I started my own business, and they're like, oh, what does your husband do? Like, what does that have to do with it?
Right.
Why do people keep asking me that question? Like, he's fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it has nothing to do with the business.
Yeah.
So I think not letting that discourage you, believing in yourself and acting and not trusting yourself more than the naysayers talking in your ear.
Yeah. Oh, true. I love that. Love to ask this question because everybody has a different answer, and amazing answer nonetheless, based on their own life experiences, right? Well, tell us how people can connect with you. Remind us how they can find the info to book that initial call if they're interested. So tell us all.
Sure. You can visit the website at sosfranchising.com. That's where you can watch videos and get more information. But if you'd like to speak with me directly, you can actually send me a text. If you send the word podcast directly to our phone number, which is 832-975-1999, then you will actually reach me directly, and we will have you down for that free Houston ticket. Again, that number is 832-975-1999, and that number is also on the website.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure and have all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on the show to share with us. And again, thank you for the work that you're doing, because it's...
You as well. Thank you for having me. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please give Miss Marta a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Nichole.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends, or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.